The Nintendo World Championships took place in 1990, pitting the best Nintendo players against each other, and is perhaps best remembered by that incredibly valuable NES cartridge carrying the NWC title featuring 3 minigames. Nintendo revived the NWC a couple of times in 2015 and 2017, but for those of us who are unable to compete in those tournaments, Nintendo has released Nintendo World Championships NES Edition on the Switch eShop, so we can all try our hand at competing in old school NES challenges in as fast a time as possible. Helping to bring out our inner Jimmy or Lucas from the Wizard film, let us know in the comments if you remember that, with over 150 challenges split across 13 NES games. Are we playing with power, or is it so bad like the Power Glove? Well, let's find out. As mentioned, you have a selection of 13 NES games to choose from. You have the 4 Marios, 2 Zeldas, Metroid, Kid Icarus, Ice Climber, Donkey Kong, Excitebike, Balloon Fight and Kirby's Adventure. You have a few modes to choose from in single player, being Speedrun, World Championships and Survival, and in Speedrun each NES game has a line of challenges to choose from, starting with very easy tasks such as grabbing the first mushroom in Super Mario Bros, and they increase in difficulty as you unlock one after the next, until you find yourself having to clear an entire dungeon in Zelda. Your performance will earn you in-game currency, which you can then use to purchase the later challenges. The controls are very simple, with just the D-pad and 2 buttons, as was the case with the NES, and the games themselves have been translated very faithfully to this compilation. Although there are some extremely easy challenges, the real hook is doing it in as fast a time as possible. The game will rank you on your time. You have the option to play these challenges on a single screen or have 2 screens displayed, one with your gameplay and one with your previous best time, which is a great motivation to keep you trying to shave off those precious milliseconds to get those S ranks. You are rewarded with badges for completing achievements. Each challenge will give you one for getting an A rank, but for those completionists out there, having a grid with all S's is a goal that will keep you playing for sure. This is what I found the real hook of the game to be, and I did find it very addictive. The controls do vary depending on which game you are playing. These are NES games after all, and like I said, they have been faithfully recreated, so players who are inexperienced with these classics may take some time to adjust. From Link only moving in 4 directions in Zelda, to the Ice Climber's very stiff jumping mechanics, it all reminds you how far gaming has come since this era, but I feel they've made the right choice at keeping this true to the originals and basing the challenges around what these games were all about. Jumping in and out of challenges is very intuitive, with a press of both triggers exiting the game, or a press of the L and R buttons restarting the challenge instantly. There are some quality of life features to help you with the games too. There will be hints up on the screen as the challenge starts to highlight where to go. If you die or go in the wrong direction, the challenge will rewind so you can try the last few seconds again, which does add to your time, but it does let you practice later moments of the challenge rather than have to do the whole thing over again. I did think this was a very good idea. The Mario games I found were the most fun of the challenges, as they typically lend themselves to speed runs. Some games like Ice Climber and Balloon Fight can be more frustrating, but there aren't that many challenges to do with those games. Outside of speedrun, you have World Championships. These are timed tournaments Nintendo cycle through, where you play through predetermined challenges to submit a best time before the tournament ends. The results will be revealed when the next tournament starts, telling you where you positioned and which percentage you placed in, along with a medal. Survival is another online mode where you take place in an 8-player elimination. You have 3 challenges. The first will eliminate the slowest 4 players, the second will knock out 2 more, and the third will be the finals with the remaining 2 players. The interesting thing about this is that you're not matching with other people live, it instead loads up 7 other people's ghost times. I think this is a fine choice, as it means you don't have to wait around for people to connect. You can choose to start each round at your own pace, and it will mean if the online dies eventually, you'll still be able to play. But speaking of playing with others, there is a multiplayer mode as well, where you can play locally with up to 8 people and can either choose individual challenges or preset groups as a tournament. These carry a theme such as breaking things or battling bosses. It's a lot of fun, although I've only played it with the 2 players, but I do feel it's a shame this mode isn't available to play online with friends too. Overall, the gameplay is very addictive. The competitive angle adds a lot to the experience, not just with others, but with beating your own times too, and gameplay scores 18 out of 20. The controls do feel very precise to how the games played back in the day, for better or for worse, they get 16 out of 20. Now when it comes to visuals, it is a bit tricky to judge this section as the gameplay is essentially NES games and they look and sound like they always did. So although the visuals do look dated and the music, although still as catchy as ever, they are just those 8-bit tunes you heard over 30 years ago. Even things like glitches and slowdown happen here, which may feel detrimental to newcomers, but I personally wouldn't have it any other way and feel it adds to the authenticity of what this game is trying to be. A Nintendo World Championship competing in old school NES games, warts and all, and I feel it succeeds massively. Where it is easier to judge this game is in terms of the overall presentation of the package. Everything about the menus is quite simple but very clean, and it has a professional look to it. When in gameplay, I mentioned you can have the option to display your personal best attempt alongside your current attempt for comparison, but you also get a UI displaying the current objective, your time, as well as an NES control layout highlighting every button press, which I always enjoy seeing when I watch speedruns, as you can pick up tips on how to play better this way. There are also some guides for the legend challenges which are laid out like something you would see in an old gaming magazine, showing you where the warp pipes are in Super Mario Bros. Or the best routes to take out the enemies in Balloon Fight. The music during the gameplay is those classic tunes, but outside that the menu theme has a grand feel to it, and they've added in some crowd noises cheering you on as you play, which is a nice touch. Overall, the presentation of this package has the right atmosphere to make you feel like you are in a tournament, and the NES games have been brought back faithfully. Visuals get 15 out of 20. Audio has fared better than the graphics in terms of how they've dated. Those chip tunes are classics after all, and it gets 18 out of 20. Nintendo World Championship costs £24.99 and regional equivalents are on your screen now. For this you are getting 156 challenges across 13 NES games. There have been some worries over the price given how it costs more than the previous remix games and whether this offers enough value for money. For me, I've personally gotten a lot out of this, but that's coming from someone who does have a history with these games and has always had an interest in speedrunning. Therefore, this has been quite useful in teaching me certain elements of those games, and I've found the game very addictive. At the same time though, I do feel like there should have been a bit more. Outside of unlocking the challenges with your in-game currency, there are icons you can buy as well, and there is the online tournament and multiplayer which will keep you going longer, but it does just feel like there's something missing. It's not unlike Nintendo these days to add free content later down the line, but as I write this nothing has been announced, and if we have to judge it based on what we have now, there are some glaring omissions. For example, Mario 3 has a challenge to clear World 1 in the fastest time, but why not have World 2 or World 3? Why does Mario 2 not have more bosses or levels available? There is so much more they could do with the games, and it's a shame not to see it. Overall though, what is here is still of a high quality and the challenges are very well thought out. On balance, I would say value gets 13 out of 20. To conclude, Nintendo World Championships NES Edition is a fun, addictive challenge pack that really does capture the thrill of speedrunning and just gives you that urge to try again and again to shave off those extra fractions of a millisecond. The online tournaments add to the competitive nature as well as the multiplayer, but it is a shame there isn't an option to play online with friends. The NES games are very well created and the UI is very useful to help you learn the basics. There is a lot to do here and a lot to keep you playing, even though it has left me wanting more. But that's a sign of a good game, I would say, and hopefully Nintendo will add to this with a few free updates in the future. Nintendo World Championships NES Edition gets a SwitchUp score of 80%. Thank you everybody for watching this review, I hope you enjoyed it. Please do remember to leave a like if you did. Which games would you have liked to have seen in this package, aside from the ones already here of course? Talking third party for a minute, I would have loved to have seen the NES Turtles game, or something really obscure, the Mission Impossible game I used to enjoy on the NES. It would be nice to have seen that included. Never would have happened though. A big thank you to Dave Morrish over at Game It Up for writing this one for us. Please do check out his channel, I'll put links to it down below. He's done a few videos on this particular game recently. Don't forget, if you're looking for eShop credit to pick this game up or any other game for that matter, you can get your eShop cards over at our website switchup.gg, and doing so will get you 5% of your purchase price back in cash back. There are other links down there to places such as PlayAsia. I do believe you can get a physical of this particular game over at PlayAsia if you're interested. Use the link down below, use the code and you get yourself 5% off of your order. A quick thank you to our patrons and our channel members for your continued support, and to each and every one of you for watching our videos. Take care, and until next time, happy gaming.